from the very beginning of the apparitions. In the time period we've called the Age of Mary, we have clearly revealed Our Lady's role as the co-redemptrix with Jesus of all humanity. Welcome to MaryCast. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle, Professor of Theology and Mariology at the Franciscan University of Steubenville. And in this mini-series about the Marian Lourdes Congress and a particular presentation at the Lourdes Conference, which will be the subject we're going to talk about. That is, Our Lady's co-redemption in the history of 19th and 20th century apparitions. And I want to start this by summarizing once again, or at least establishing clearly, that it should be no surprise that Our Lady is revealing her role as co-redemptrix, as well as her call for Christian co-redemption for all members of Christ's faithful in these apparitions of the 19th and 20th century, when the popes of the same time period have done exactly that. From Pius IX in the middle of the 19th century to Benedict XVI, our present Holy Father, you have an unbroken line of papal, ordinary, magisterial teachings regarding Mary's unique role in the redemption. That's what the title co-redemptrix means. Nothing more, nothing less. That Mary uniquely shared with and under Jesus, entirely dependent on Jesus, in the mission of human redemption. So, with John Paul II calling Our Lady co-redemptrix on 6 occasions and teaching a profound theology of Marian co-redemption, with Pope Benedict already several times in year 2008 talking about Mary's co-redemption. In particular, his World Day of the Sick letter of February 11th, 2008. That feast so closely, that day of dedication so closely related to the Lourdes apparitions, when he talks about Mary's yes at the Annunciation, Mary's continued suffering with Jesus at Calvary, and even that in some way Mary shares in our sufferings, in the sufferings of the children of humanity. And again, in May of 2008, in the prayer of Our Lady of Sheshan, the prayer for China, again, Pope Benedict talks about Mary's yes at the Annunciation, Mary's yes, continued yes at Calvary, and how as a result she becomes the spiritual mother of the living, the spiritual mother of humanity. So this theme is certainly in the Holy Father's heart. It shouldn't be a surprise that through authentic Marian private revelation, we're going to have the same theme. So let's just do a backbone outline of the messages from the 19th and 20th century apparitions. In fact, these particular apparitions, Rudebach in 1830, Lourdes in 1858, Fatima in 1917. And we'll start with Akita, because that was the more recently approved, that was the first approved in that line in 1973. And then we'll conclude with Amsterdam, which was approved in 2002. Rudebach, 1830, miraculous metal apparitions, as they're commonly referred to. Saint Catherine Labouré receives visions and apparitions from the Blessed Virgin Mary, which become a coin, a medal. It's a struck coin, which then becomes what is known throughout the world as the miraculous medal. What is on those visions that can convey clearly Our Lady's role? Well, first of all, on the front vision given to St. Catherine Labouré, which is now the front of the miraculous medal, we see that Mary is crushing the head of the serpent. This is Genesis 3:15. This is the woman's unique role in crushing the head of Satan. Now, the woman does it with her seed of victory, with Jesus Christ. But it is still an unparalleled participation with Jesus in the crushing of the head of Satan. We're going to find that in the document on the Immaculate Conception by Pius IX in 1854, he makes reference that Genesis 3:15 passage is clearly a reference to Mary's unique role in salvation, and also the foundation of Mary's Immaculate Conception, which allows her, it prepares her to crush the head of Satan. So, from the very first vision of this Age of Mary in 1830, we have Mary as the co-redemptrix. Now, the image turns itself around as Our Lady shows it to St. Catherine Labouré. On the back of the image in the Paris Mother House, where St. Catherine received it, you have the M connected to a cross. So an M and then a bar that connects that M to the cross. That's Mary at the foot of the cross. That's the icon of Mary, again, as co-redemptrix. And so we're going to see also, even on that back of the miraculous medal image, the hearts of Jesus and Mary. You've got Mary's heart, which is pierced by the sword, which again indicates that prophecy of Simeon. A sword shall pierce through your own heart too. You're the mother of the Redeemer. If the Redeemer suffers, you're going to suffer. And every mother knows this. Every father knows it too. You suffer as your children suffer. So, from the beginning of the Marian message to the modern world, 1830 at Rue de Bac, we have clearly revealed Our Lady's role as the co-redemptrix. She crushes Satan's head. And we're going to see more about Genesis 3:15 when we get towards the other end of this series of Marian apparitions with Our Lady's apparitions in Akita, where a guardian angel literally appears with the Bible, calls the visionary Sister Agnes to read the Bible, and the passage is Genesis 3:15. More on that when we get to Akita. We go from Rue de Bac to Lourdes, 1830 to 1858. What's happened in between these apparitions is a dogmatic pronouncement, a dogma, which is pronounced by Blessed Pius IX in 1854, the dogma that states that Mary is the Immaculate Conception, that Mary was conceived without original sin. So you almost have a private revelational sandwich here. You've got 1830, which also calls for Mary as the Immaculate Conception in the sense of the prayer that is around the medal. O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us who have recourse to thee. And then after the dogmatic pronouncement in 1854, we have Lourdes. We have our Blessed Mother who comes as the Immaculate Conception. Now, what does Our Lady say there? What does she say to Saint Bernadette Soubirous, 14-year-old illiterate girl in a high Pyrenees town? It's a call for Christian co-redemption. Let me explain what I mean by that. I mean, again, that we are called to make up what is lacking in the sufferings of Christ for the sake of His body, which is the church. Colossians 1:24, St. Paul. We are called to unite our sufferings with the sufferings of Jesus and Mary to release the graces which, in fact, Jesus and Mary acquired historically at Calvary. That's our call. And we can call that ecclesial or Christian co-redemption because we really participate in saving souls. Now, it's a participation. We're only releasing the graces of Jesus and secondarily of Mary the new Eve, which come through the great sacrifice of the crucifixion at Calvary historically. But it's a powerful and it's a salvific call. So what does Our Lady of Lourdes say to Bernadette? She says in one of the first messages, pray for the sinners. In a later message, you must pray and do penance in reparation to God and for the conversion of sinners. And then in one message, literally Bernadette repeats the words she hears from the Lady, penance, penance, penance. Well, my friends, all of this is a call for us to, through prayer and penance, to save souls, to be co-redeemers. We mentioned in the first segment that Pope Benedict talked about John Paul II releasing a, quote, redeeming force of love through his passion. You and I are called to do the same thing, and the Blessed Mother is calling for us to have prayer, penance, reparation, giving an atonement to God, but also saving souls, tapping the mercy of God, releasing God's mercy for our present time of human history. Stay with us in this series. We're going to go on with this Marian message of the modern world, and Our Lady is co-redemptrix, and our call to be co-redeemers. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle. Thanks, and God bless.